The future of Austin, is this the future of the city that we really want? Jeremy 99 Group, your favorite Austin realtor. Austin is changing at a pace that's hard to wrap our heads around. Cranes stretching across the skyline, roads are being torn up, and billions of dollars are flowing into projects that promise to transform the way we live, work, and move. But here's a real question. Is all of this growth actually making Austin a better place? Because let's be honest, some people love what's happening. They see opportunity, innovation, and progress. Others, they see rising prices, unbearable traffic, and a city that's starting to lose its soul. So today, let's take a deep dive into the biggest projects shaping Austin's future, the new housing boom, the light rail system, and South Lamar's massive new development. We're going to talk business shakeups, tech innovations, and even Austin Bergstrom's expansion. More importantly, let's talk about what all of this means for you. Is Austin still the city you love, or are we building something entirely different? Let's start with the housing boom. Are we fixing the problem, or are we just adding more fuel to the fire? Because if you live in Austin, you know this is one of the biggest challenges we face. Oh yeah, and property taxes. Here's what's happening. Austin is leading the entire country, believe it or not, in affordable housing developments, with over 3,400 new affordable multifamily units expected to be completed this year. That's more than what's being built in Los Angeles, Chicago, or even Houston. But before you celebrate, which I would love to celebrate, let's take a closer look. Yes, these new units are desperately needed, but at the same time, we're dealing with a major economic curveball, and that could be tariffs on imports from Mexico and Canada. And China are all about to make construction materials potentially more expensive. So tariffs on lumber, steel, and glass, everything it takes to build a home is going to cost more. And that means developers may either slow down construction or pass those costs on to buyers and renters. So will these new 3,400 affordable units make Austin more affordable, or will they just be another drop in the bucket of costs that just seem to keep climbing? And here's something else to think about. What's happening to those of us who don't qualify for affordable housing? Rent prices have started to cool off recently in Austin. Vacancy rates are actually up, and more multifamily building has happened. Some landlords are even offering incentives, free rent for a couple months, discounted move-ins. But is this just a short-term trend, or are we about to see rents climb back up as Austin keeps growing? So let me ask you, does Austin feel more affordable to you? Are these housing projects actually making a difference, or do they feel like a Band-Aid on a much bigger problem? Because let's be honest, prices aren't actually coming down in the future. And the light rail, it might be the future of our traffic, or it might be a nightmare. Austin traffic is already legendary, and it's about to get a whole lot worse when this breaks ground. The city is really pushing forward on this 9.8-mile light rail system that doesn't go to the airport, one of the biggest infrastructure projects in Austin's history. Once complete, it could revolutionize how we move through the city, cutting through commute times, reduce reliance on cars, and maybe, just maybe, making Austin feel a little less chaotic. But here's the biggest problem with this, is that over 300 properties, including 59 businesses, are being impacted, making this project not as amazing as it should be. Some people will have to relocate, others will have to shut down completely. And for the rest of us, we're in this for years of road closures, detours, and construction headaches. So is it all worth it? So let's be real. How do you feel about this? Are you expecting the long-term benefits, or does this really feel like another project that's going to make life harder in the short term, especially with the amount of businesses being displaced? More importantly, will you actually use the light rail? Because a system like this only works if people actually get out of their cars and they ride it. So tell me, do you think Austin is making the right call with this? I have my own opinions. Or are we investing billions into something that won't even solve the problem? There's a lot more to get into here. I'm sorry for all of this, but let's talk about some of the businesses coming in and shaking up. Austin has built a reputation as a business friendly city, but right now things are shifting. Mergers and acquisitions are shaking up major industries here, and companies are consolidating. And the commercial real estate market is seeing some slowdowns, which we've talked about on this channel. That doesn't mean that Austin's economy is struggling, but it does mean things are definitely changing. Some major moves happening right now are SolarWinds, a major IT management company, is going private in a $4.4 billion deal. This means big changes for Austin's tech landscape. Now, NinjaOne, an endpoint security company, is spending $252 million to acquire Dropsuite, an Australian cloud startup company. This solidifies Austin as a growing hub for cybersecurity and cloud service. CT Foods, Family Foods, you know those good chips? The local brand famous for grain-free tortillas has been acquired by PepsiCo for $1.2 billion. Are you happy about that? Great for business, but will this impact the company's local roots? I hope not. ZP Better Together, a video replay service provider for the deaf and the hard of hearing community, has been sold for nearly $500 million. An example of how Austin's startup scene is evolving. These deals just show how fast things are moving here in Austin. But here's the big question. Is this the kind of economic growth Austin actually needs? Are these business moves creating more opportunities for locals like you and I, or are they just making Austin a playground for big outside investors? This is something as we grow, we're going to have to face. And as far as expanding, we need the airport to expand. So Austin Bergstrom Airport, ABIA, is expanding fast. We've talked about the Asian flights, but Southwest just announced new nonstop flights, making Austin an even bigger travel hub. More flights mean more tourism, mean more business connections, and more people flowing in and out of the city. Plus, there's a huge expansion, another 20 gates that are coming. But here's the flip side. Can our airport actually handle all of this growth? If you've ever been stuck in TSA like I have at ABA, I travel a lot, you may already know it's a huge struggle. More flights mean more demand on our airport, and that's already busting at the seams. So does this sound like good news to you? Do we need more direct flights? I think we do. Or are we going to grow too fast for our infrastructure? Speaking of infrastructure, something that's coming up on South Lamar, massive new project, a game changer coming, but is it going to be more congestion? Now let's talk about one of the biggest developments that's happening in South Austin, and that is a massive mixed use project right up South Lamar. And it is going to feature luxury apartments, office space, and retail. That's another sign that Austin isn't expanding outward, it's also expanding inward and going more vertical. The city is filling in faster, getting denser, and becoming more urban. For some, this is exactly what Austin needs: more housing and more jobs and more business opportunities. But for others, it's just another example of overdevelopment and congestion. And it's going to get bad on South Lamar with this. South Lamar is already a nightmare to drive through. And what happens when you add thousands of new residents and businesses? Of course, you're going to need a train and more transportation. But is this the kind of development that actually benefits the people who live here? And if you love South Austin like I do, this could add more congestion. Or it's just making Austin more expensive. Think about the additional tax revenue with more people moving in. Austin loves that. So what does all this mean for Austin's future? Does all of the new development actually make it life better for you? Is a light rail a smart investment, or is it a disruption? Disruption. That's right. Will Austin ever be affordable again, or is a lost cause? I know the property taxes make it tough. Are we building a better economy, or just making it easier for corporations to cash in? This city is being reshaped before our eyes. The decisions being made today will definitely define Austin for decades. So do you like where we are headed? Tell me what you think in the comments below. I'd really love to know. And I'd love to know what you think about some of these projects. I know the flights to Milwaukee are going to be great for some people that want to fly to Milwaukee and get direct flights. Some people, we talked about the Asian flights. I'd love to see what happens if we actually do get direct flights to Asia. There's just a lot happening in Austin. What do you think about all the growth? Jeremy Knight with The Knight Group, your favorite Austin realtor. I do work really hard on these videos, so I appreciate if you share them with a friend and hit the subscribe button. And look, if you're looking to move to the Austin area, you can always reach out. We've got a great team ready to help you. And the camera guy loves to help you edit, or loves to help me edit these videos. So make sure you give Bryce a thumbs up.